Hi, welcome or welcome back. Welcome back. So, thank you for stopping by my channel today. My name is Sharifa, and this is the New Year Review. And today, I come to you with my video in my collection in my series, I Am America. This series right here for the month of February, I am focusing on book recommendations. And I think I'm going to put in a couple of movies recommendation, but I haven't decided yet. But I want to share this collection with you in particular for, I guess, history, United States history. So there is a huge purging of cultural books that's going on right now with the United States government. They are eliminating important facts about history, and to our fault, the public school system in the educational system has not been. I would not say not the best for our kids, but in terms of they are missing a lot of gaps in understanding United States history. Now, I've been out of school for about 100 years. However, I know that as a child, um, and I was taught in a predominantly black school. So my teachers were predominantly, most of them were African American black. There was no shortage of learning black history, which I think is an important factor for any child of color coming up. That's one, in the United States. And then secondly, you want to teach it across the board because we learn as we go to be sensitive and more understanding to other cultures. And if you learn that while you're young, it makes the world a better place. I'm working on the video review on the book The Sum of Us by Heather McGee. I recommend, it's not on this list, but I highly, highly, highly recommend anyone to who's understanding, who are looking to understand how targeting one racial group or one ethnic group affects everybody else. So that was just my little plug, but I'm glad that you came back. So let's get into the books I'm recommending for people who want to understand history in the United States as it pertains to all groups. Okay. Now, the two books I'm going to give you first are a little controversial, and then I'm going to start with those, and then we're going to get to the more easier books. The first book I want to share with you is the 1619 Project. This was composed, well, the essays are, you have like several different authors who wrote essays in a timeline of experiences and facts that happened in the from 1619 to the current day. Now, these essays written, there are some poetry, there are just essays, and I tell you, every year I grab this book since it's been published, and I have to, if I'm not reading the entire book, I'm reading parts of the book because it just reminds me of the work that we still have to do. I recommend this for everyone's home. It doesn't matter your background. This will give you a firm grasp. That's my coffee maker, you guys. It will give you a firm grasp of the history of the United States as it pertains to blacks and African Americans. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that one. And this book actually right now is in the process of, it's on the book ban. And so I encourage you, if this is something that you're interested in, get it for your library at home. That's what this channel is really all about, advocating for people to get books that will sustain you in your library. And although I love a good fictitious book, I like to get things that's going to stand in place of time. So let's get to the next book. This one was also placed on a book ban, 400 Souls edited by Ibram X. Kendi. And so this right here, oh, and Keisha L. Blain. She's a prolific writer. I love her writing. Um, this one also tells the story of 400 souls. So it's not like 16, it's like 1619, but it doesn't follow a timeline of history. This is various authors and their essays and their and Black history experience. So these are the list of authors. And so you have, like, in 1619, a variations of poems, short essays, and it's really, the experiences and the expressions in history from 1619 to 2019. And I highly recommend this. This is actually one of the books I've used in our social studies class in homeschooling, along with the 1619. These were two books, and there's a couple of other books that I used as well, but cornerstone of understanding Black history and history as it lies in the United States, because Black history is American history. And so that's something that, I want to resonate with everyone. Like, if someone says indigenous history is American history, I can agree with that. If you say Mexican history is American history, I can agree with that. So Black history is American history. So I encourage you to get this one, 400 Souls, Ibram X. Kendi, prolific author. I have every single one of his books. The next one I want to share with you is a bit controversial. I don't know if they're taking this off the history curriculums of high schools, but I know in honors classes they do use this book as a textbook. And it's called These Truths, A History of the United States, Jill Lepore. I think I've mentioned this book several times along with the other two. I've mentioned this book a few times on my channel as a recommendation. This is one that I really do highly recommend for those who are just interested in United States history from its inception, to current day. Jill Lepore, she breaks it down fluently. Her writing is beautiful, and I am a big fan of hers. So yeah, I recommend that you get this one. I don't think this is on the book ban, but I won't be surprised if someone decide to put it on the book ban. I think a lot of U.S. history books are being altered and rewritten to take out issues like oppression and slavery, and so to get a piece of history, it's not the full picture. You don't want to be that person that's ignorant about like real life facts, and that's just everybody. The point of this life is to live it well and to live it truthfully. And so if we can have those conversations about America and how she has evolved and how we can continue evolving together, I mean, hands down. I mean, I'm open. I'm always open to having those conversations with anybody. So the next book, I highly, highly recommend this. The Slave Cause, A History of Abolition, Mashina Shana. I'm actually rereading this book because I'm in the process of doing a civil rights class for the fall of this year. And it's just in a book that I recommend because we have to talk about all the actors, right? Who has helped us get this far in the fight for freedom for the slaves. And this is why the book, The Sum of Us, it probably should have been on this list. I'm going to link it down below as a recommended book also. But we have to give gratitude and acknowledgement to the abolitionists as well as the slaves who fought for our freedoms. And so this book right here highlights a lot of key players. is really in depth in scale of just behaviors that were remnant throughout this process, and still really we're dealing with right now today. But yeah, the slave cause, it is definitely a book I highly recommend for your library at home. This book I have recommended before, and this is actually on my Black History list, my 25 of 2025. If you've seen that video, I only have a part one. I want to say that I'm working on the part two. My editing skills are horrible, so you may see another re-video of that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but this is on that list. I don't know where it falls on the list, but it is Africans in America, America's Journey Through Slavery. And this has several authors, but this is also a documentary. If you are interested in looking at the documentary, it is a PBS series. And so this documentary highlights how we call it, I call it the Middle Passage. It is called the Middle Passage. And the Middle Passage is when slaves were taken from home, from Africa, and the Middle Passage is the sea. So the Middle Passage to what we now call America. So it tells the story, very readable, very, short chapters, gets to the point. And I think that this is actually a good book for anybody who's a homeschool educator, or, if you just have children at home, or even for yourself. I try to pull books that I feel that families can actually sit down and have those conversations, and not ones that are like the chapters are so long. You are a few people, they will not be interested in grasping to those concepts. So every book that I pull can be broken up into having those small conversations. Except for the slave cause, I will recommend that. That is a more of a advanced reading of slavery in America. So that would be my one note to that. But this book right here in particular, I've read this book over 20 something years ago, saw the documentary, fell in love with it. For a while, it was coming on TV every Black History Month on PBS. And so I think if you go to pbs.org and key in Africans in America, you'll be able to pull up the information, not only on the documentary, probably also on the book. But this is a highly recommended book for anybody in their library for their U.S. history collection or book collection, just learning about U.S. history. Now, this one right here came to a surprise. Like, I wasn't expecting to pull this book, but this book right here, I think it relates to where we're at right now, and who are we, qualifying to be our leaders. And this is We the People, the modern day figures who have reshaped and affirmed the founding fathers' vision of America. And so these are not the original men on the what is that mountain called? Oh, if you all remember, let me know. I'll show you the picture of the book. And so I forgot the name of the mountain. I know Lincoln is up there, but right here we have Reagan, we have Jimmy Carter, we have what is his name? What is his name? What is this president's name? I'm looking dead at him. He was a big environmentalist. He was a big environmentalist. I know my presidents. Roosevelt. It was Roosevelt, and then it was Truman. So these are the men who are considered who reshaped the landscape of United States as we see it today. And all of them played very substantial marks in how America has been reshaped especially Reagan, with his campaign on eliminating um, eliminating services for, or he put people in a class of, like, say for instance, welfare queens, and cutting down social programs, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, make America great again. All of that came from Reagan, and it was actually during his administration. There was a ramp and pickup on delivering. My cats are acting crazy. Of the drug cartels in black and brown neighborhoods. It's just, but see, nobody really talks about that when they talk about Reagan. We want to talk about the fun and fuzzy, and like, oh, he was very conservative and he felt like this and that. I just feel like when you have people who are leaders and they are not culturally sensitive, and they think one solution is the solution for all, there's a big gap that's missing. And to say that, this man was governor of the California, and connecting that, he did the same thing in California. So I don't know why that did not resonate with the rest of the United States, because he had a landslide victory. So that lets you know how uneducated we can be as people who are voting on who we want to lead us in our democracy. So I'm always encouraging people to do the research for themselves. I'm not here to give anybody, I'm not here to teach anybody how to do it. I give recommendations and some book reviews, and I talk about other things as well. But for the most part, with all this access that we have in our free public libraries, we have, and some of them, in rural areas, it may not be as accessible, but then we have Wi-Fi. We have other means of gaining access. So, educating yourself is a lifelong process, and so I am always open to having these conversations and learning more. I'm amazed by the things that I learned that was right under my nose that I never knew, and that makes me hungry, and a lot of times I go down a rabbit hole once I realize, wow, this information has been here all along. So that is my love of learning and bringing these books to you. So the selections I have are not the only ones. If you have some that you feel like is important to have in your library at home, or important for me to have in my library at home, please put them in the comments. I would love to have everyone's suggestions. So in saying that, I am going to close this video by saying have a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with a friend. Normally I don't plug that, but if you like my content and you jive with me, hey, subscribe and welcome to the tribe. Until then, I will talk to you later. Bye bye.